Hi, Angelina. Nice to see you.
Hi, Carmen. Very nice to see you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming and for taking the time.
Sure.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
Definitely. So I'm Angelina Michail. I'm head of HR for a European headquarter in Switzerland, here in Zurich for a leading multinational firm, and until recently also the D&I lead for Europe in the same company, just having moved to another second hat, which is HR BP Europe for a big function of the company.
And as a head of HR, would you like to describe your ideal recruitment process?
Well, I think the ideal recruitment process is the same ideal, if I can say it like that, for all the parties involved. So for us as a company, for the candidates taking part, and for in case we use, let's say, a partner, a recruitment partner for them as well. And definitely it has to do with clarity in terms of profile, starting from the very first step. So what exactly is it that we would be looking for? Again, not very strict, but a clarity, and we can maybe speak about that later. Then clear, structured recruitment steps. What is entailed, how many people, if there is any assessments involved in that process, and a draft timeline, at least. Maybe not set in stone, because business can be unusual, not only usual in all circumstances. So, but have a sense of timeline and keep everyone involved, informed and connected until the very, very last step would we offer acceptance.
Why would you contact a recruitment agency to help you with the process?
Well, many reasons. For sure, you can rely, I can name a few, on the expertise in a specific sector or a specific field of the market, like it's commercial, it's very technical. Very frequently we have a very multifaceted business. Therefore, we might be looking for really specialized expertise talent. And therefore, you would be looking for a partner when you're looking for talent that really knows well that field. That would be, let's say, for sure, a good reason. And then I would also say for less expert roles, you would also be partnering with a reliable recruitment partner, because actually you would need help with the volume. And this is something we see very, very much, and I experience it even myself. I mean, if we look at current market data for Europe, it's almost 1.8 candidates per one role. And I would say for Switzerland, my personal, and maybe not generalize the country, Zurich, which is labor market in itself, it's even more competitive, I've seen. So whether you don't have that capacity at the moment within your team, your internal team or yourself to be handling the project, and you really want a reliable recruitment partner that can take away the volume, and you can just really focus on good quality candidates.
Can you tell us more about your last experience with a recruiter? What went well? What could be improved?
Partnering with a couple of different recruitment partners, having been a recruitment partner myself at one point in my career, I would say that they're all positive. And let's say I can pick on, now I'm thinking, that's why I'm taking time. One last experience, again, it was a high volume role that I needed to support, let's say, to quickly find quality candidates, and the aim was definitely achieved. So quality candidates, really swift turnaround. I mean, timelines are important, and because it is a partner that I've worked more than once, it was really easy to understand exactly what are the needs and move the process forward really easily.
Do you have any advice for candidates that apply to a role in your company?
Again, thinking of a couple of recent experiences, positive and maybe not so positive ones, because I think that's always like things to feedback or key points that we should take in mind. You might be a passive candidate, meaning that you're not actively applying for jobs and you have been approached, obviously, from a recruiting company and a recruitment agency and so on. It would be good to, throughout the steps of the process, because as we said, it can be a multi-step process. You take some time and get as much information and get clarity of really, are you interested in this role? Are you in all the way and see what happens so you can drop out last minute? So that would be really like the kind of professional maturity, taking a step back, understanding, is this for me, or how can I also request more data? Because I do have in mind like a couple of really last minute offer stage dropouts that, you know, everybody would not be expecting, let's say, a negative response at this point. I mean, even companies would not want to really go on with an offer unless they're sure that about what they're offering, if this is going to be met positively, and so on. So take a moment to think and reflect how dropping back would reflect on your professional profile. How are you going to do? I don't say you don't have to do it. It's better that you do it, of course, instead of going to a non-compatible role or company and so on. But take a moment to think how this is done and how it reflects, and the when, of course, and how it would reflect later, and how you're informing all the parties.
You talked about how difficult sometimes it is to find the right talent. I'm curious, as a head of HR, how do you deal with diversity and inclusion here? Because there are a lot of talents on the market that maybe are not seen, are not, scouted. So I just want to hear your opinion.
Yeah. So great topic about diversity. Love it, as you might already understand from my former title. So making sure to have diverse talent pools can be ensured for sure by working with an external recruitment partner. Because, I mean, every company has a brand name, and if they have done a very good job about employer branding for themselves and placing themselves as a diverse, let's say, employer, then they should be able, through all the different channels that they are, let's say, putting up their job postings and actually their own branding, to attract diverse talent. And this is part of our strategy, part of our TA strategy, European-wide, country-wide, and so on. And even to the really granular view of every recruitment process. Like, we want to ensure there is diversity of candidate in every recruitment process in terms of gender, in terms of age, in terms of background, and so on.
Why?
So why diversity is so important for every recruitment process?
Yes.
We would be missing out on a great talent pool by stereotyping people and sticking to maybe what has worked for the past 20 years, or to a specific, let's say, view on what the successful candidate looks like, first of all. And second, we would be really missing out on what society is looking like nowadays, what our customers are looking like, and we can have a deeper discussion if you're interested in that. I mean, at one point we did realize that our commercial talent for one of our big businesses was kind of middle-aged white men visiting our customers, and our customers did not reflect exactly the same reality anymore. That has been maybe a traditional view of our workforce in that commercial, let's say, division for some time, but it's not necessarily the world anymore. So, and then again, of course, it's good that we recognize that, and that's the first step you can take. You can recognize that, and then without discriminating against that group of people, which is great to have in the process, let's do baby steps and try, maybe with the help of an external recruitment partner, your internal TA team, say, why do we keep getting this profile? What else is there? Ask the question. Be curious about it. And, don't try to make a big change, just baby steps. And that's, I think, beautiful results and realizations might come from that question.
Do you think that brand awareness for a company may influence the decision for a candidate to apply or not?
Great question. And it's very relevant because we are a big B2B company, so our brand naturally is less known to candidates than big, B2C companies who are customer oriented and the brand is known. So definitely, if I know a big soda drink name and I know the manufacturer, or what a big company, I know them and I've seen this and this references, maybe as a consumer even, and then I would apply. So definitely this is a big plus for branding, is a big plus for the attract stage of the process.
And what a company can do to improve the brand awareness on the market?
First of all, I would say be very, very clear on when we say market, what is the market for them? Like, is it a chemical manufacturing company? Then probably you really want to engage with chemical engineers, chemists, R&D profiles, and so on. So I'm giving an example. So what is your market? What is your talent pipeline that you want to engage with? And then, of course, you can select the different polytechnicals, the different universities that have that kind of field. Then you can start engaging from, early talent. And I would say early talent is always an investment as well for employer branding, not just good for diversity that we talked earlier, but because you make your brand known to a talent segment that is the early talent professionals who has a great future in front of their career lifespan. So you really build an awareness, an investment with future outlook.
Angelina, what advice would you give to young professionals that are willing to land a job?
I have 3 points that I could summarize my advice on. First of all, get some work experience. There are great graduate programs in multiple disciplines out there, and internship, apprenticeships. So get yourself some work experience, get a flavor of what workplace is looking like really in reality. Second, really try to think out of the box. Don't stereotype when you're looking for a job, your first job or a company. Try out even different fields from what you study and make sure this is something you like. Anyway, you would have gained experience by that. And the third point would be start building your network early. I would say talk with your peers who have a position, an internship in another organization. Get feedback on what is their experience, what are the processes. Try to network within your own first job inside the organization and build your network.
Angelina, I think that you are a ray of sunshine, right?
You're very kind.
You really express a lot of positivity with your body language, with your attitude. How important do you think to have a positive attitude at work?
This must be a given. It's not, but it is. Meaning, we spend at work how much? More than half of our days, and certainly much more than we're at home with the people we've chosen to spend, let's say, our times with. So having a positive attitude, it does not only replicate the kind of environment that we would like ideally to work in, Like we would only want to work in a positive environment. So if we don't reflect that environment, then it's not there. And it also equips you with a kind of tenacity and resilience that you need to, bounce back from all the unexpected, let's say, struggles and obstacles that happen every day in our professional lives.
So from a candidate perspective, or let's say from an employee perspective, what advice would you give to overcome a difficult time at work and maintain that positive attitude?
Yeah. So that's a good question. And it's, as HR, we've always been approached by associates, even peers who are going through a tough time for different reasons and in different contingencies. And what we do say, following again the resilience principles, is, a difficult time is really depleting you. So your resilience bucket, and your energy. So make sure you refill your energy bucket and your positivity by reaching out to your support system, to your peers at work, to a trusted, maybe former manager, ideally your current manager, but sometimes we experience that this might, for many reasons, not be easy. So seek out a mentor inside or outside the organization. I remember myself, I did survive a very tough period with excellent mentor and coach advice. And now it seems, when I look back, very easy, but at the time it wasn't. So that would be my best advice.
And from an employer's point of view, what advice would you give companies to overcome challenges and reestablish a healthy work environment?
Really, what are the values of the company? What is the mission? Refocus. I would say refocus to your values and mission. And I'm sure in the values and mission, and this to be accomplished, you have your associates in, and how important your people, your human assets are in this mission. So just refocusing and making sure that your employees feel in difficult times. And actually it would be underestimation to say we're living a VUCA world, because it's just a constant crisis mode, I would say, the last year. So make sure, for example, your employees in difficult times know how much you value them, communicate openly, refocus on the values, mission, and principle.
How do you show the employees appreciation? How do you value them?
Making openly communicating, making known to them how is really the company facing this challenge, and what are we doing, how are we shifting. I remember the big supply chain crisis that we've seen after the COVID crisis, and really affected manufacturing field that we're in, and how important and how re-energized we all felt, from senior managers to our shop floor workers in the plants, by really having an open call and saying how we are really, what are the measures are we taking, how we all come together as a team to adjust our business, our manufacturing model to respond to this crisis, and how we are going to turn this into an opportunity. And when you instill this mindset of turning a problem into an opportunity, first of all, you've just re-engaged your people. And you have everybody as one team trying for the best. So,
according to you, does the perfect candidate exist?
The perfect candidate for what? So, no, I will say that we should move away from stereotyping, to start my question with. But at the same time, definitely there is a perfect match, a very good match for every role. Like there is this ideal match, very good match. There is this with some reservations match, and there is the potential match if I run out of candidates and I really need to get the job done. So it depends really. There's an array of matching levels, perfection levels to candidates and the job.
How do you define, how perfect the candidate is to the job?
Of course, the technical skills need to be there. So in terms of experience, maybe not in their entirety, meaning that if something can be taught, like a 10% can be taught, then I think it should be still a very valid candidacy. Of course, then have some cover the technical skill set, and then really the perfect candidate would be somebody that can make an impact, that can do the job, but not just the bullets on the job description. How does this person impact? How do they fit in with the rest of the organization, with what we said, the culture, the mission, and do you see them making an impact? So for me, we're always having an eye for potential, and that's what I mean, potential and making an impact. Do I see them developing? Do I see them making an impact in the wider organization? That, for me, that's actually the perfect candidate for a role.
So for a candidate or for an employee to make an impact within the organization, needs to have specific soft skills, right? So we're not talking about the technical aspect, the technical set of skills. So how important do you think that soft skills are for an employee?
That's a great question. Actually, they are equally, I would say, important to their technical knowledge in the job. And we did see that with facts after the recent COVID crisis, that work became fully remote or mostly remote. And we had, for younger people that we hired with very brief experience during that time, you could see that, let's say, the social or the soft skills like collaboration, communication, and so on, were non-developed, not equally developed. So there is even a gap in this generation that was hired only during remote work in the soft skills side. And we see how this plays a role, and it's so important. So I think this was a really nice realization to understand how important soft skills are when we did see that effect of COVID, let's say, in remote work in that generation. And it can make or break your career, to put it in very short. Yeah.
Do you think that in the future we are going to maintain this level of flexibility within the workforce, or it will change?
It's surprising to see the big contrast, the big change after the big remote era, full remote now, to there's this trend to come back to the office and office work. I think it will have to balance out somewhere in the middle, in a structured way. Maybe for some companies, there's the need to regulate maybe flex time, but for sure, I think it's here to stay. So in some shape or form, what we call hybrid work model for sure will stay.
The world of recruitment is changing. What do you think about artificial intelligence within the recruitment process?
Well, we will see the benefits of it, and I'm already thinking some dangers that we might fall into, especially with the high volume application roles. You would be tended to rely on a software that we are already doing with ATS. Maybe actually it's an improvement. I'm correcting myself. We will have if we manage to train well our AI models that we have incorporated in our ATS systems, then actually this can be a meaningful tool. And even if we manage to customize and train AI, not with some set of criteria, but really train our AIs to think like, what's the culture, what should I be looking in, and so on, that could work well. At the same time, what we were discussing before about interview process being video interview, which is already in place, right? And we do have that software as well. Maybe in the future, we will have our own trained avatars to do this video interview for us. And then how can you distinguish between reality and artificial reality?
Thank you very much, Angelina, for your insights. Very, very interesting.
And thank you as well for the opportunity to discuss. It was great to reflect.
Thank you.
Thank you.